Former Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantakyi, who was handed a lifetime ban by football's world governing body FIFA, says is going to appeal the ruling. Mr. Nyantakyi's ban is in connection with his dealings captured in secret recordings by investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw in the famous number 12 documentary. The former FA boss, in addition to the lifetime ban, is also to stay away from all football-related activities and pay a fine of nearly $500,000. But Mr. Nyantakyi, in a press statement, said he will seek redress at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Well, the statement is captured as following: that he wishes to express his shock and deep sadness after receiving the decision from the FIFA Ethics Adjudicatory Committee on Tuesday. He says his legal advisors under his instructions to urgently appeal the decision, as he thought it was unfair, harsh and unwarranted. He also continued in the statement that he will use all legal channels available to seek redress and establish the facts that he presented to the committee, even though, according to the statement, he had already resigned from all football position. He said that it is important that he establish the facts with the sole aim of clearing his name. At this moment, he said he's unable to provide any further details as his lawyers and counsels are reviewing the fact for appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. He concluded a statement wishing to express his sincere gratitude to the people of Ghana, Africa, and indeed across the globe for the overwhelming support and outpouring of sympathy. A statement from Mr. Nyantakyi comes as concerns grow about government's delay in prosecuting former football administrators and himself when FIFA has since concluded its work. Meanwhile, the man whose undercover investigations led to the live ban of the former Football Association president says he never gloated over the downfall of Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi. Anas, who is a keynote speaker at an ongoing African investigative journalism conference at a university in Johannesburg, South Africa, says it was hearing the ban for the first time from the audience and would not go into details. He told his audience, there present, made up of investigative journalists drawn from across Africa and other parts of the world, that he fought a system and not a personality.
And so I would, at this stage, I would just say no comment. A lot of these issues are in courts, and strategically so. I am not one person who loves to rejoice about somebody's misfortune. I think that I fought a system and not a personality. And I'm happy that the system is down, and I'm happy that changes are being brought. For me, those are very, very important issues.
Back in Ghana, the Asantehene Otumfuo Setutu II has assured normalcy will soon be restored to the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which was shut down over student riot last week. The Chief of Staff at the Minsha Palace, Kofi Bedu, who spoke for him, says a committee ultimately will be set up to address all these outstanding challenges. The Asantehene was on campus to assess for himself the extent of damage caused by the rioting students.
The main administration block, halls of residence, security office, the maintenance department and office of dean of students are scenes of destruction. Otumfuo also saw the damaged electronic gate at the Bomsi gate of the university. Mr. Kofi Bedu says the Chancellor, who is unhappy about the turn of events, will facilitate processes to return the KNUST to its glorious days.
You know, the resolution of the crisis here. So I thought that because we saw all of them here, you needed to know the reasons why they accompanied me here. They felt that the crisis here is their crisis too. It's important for the educational system of this country to ensure that disturbances of this sort are resolved amicably.
Earlier, Otumfuo met with Vice Chancellors of public universities. Vice Chancellor of University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor John Japon, briefed the media after the discussion.
Oh, well, Vice Chancellor's Ghana, we think that there are lessons for everybody. There are lessons for everybody. You hear complaints on the sides of the students. They think that they are not being listened to. Probably as Vice Chancellors, we need to explore innovative ways of engaging students. But we do not entertain violence under any circumstances. I mean, if you feel aggrieved, we have laid down processes and procedures for addressing our grievances. So under no circumstances should anybody take the law into their own hands. And then also probably on the part of government, the speed with which the university was closed down to avert further damage to property and life, I found it very good. It was prompt action. Otherwise, nobody could tell what was going to happen. But beyond that, then we need to allow the processes to work. So that is what I think is clear for all parties to learn from this experience.
Meanwhile, University Teachers Association of Ghana, KNUST chapter, says it will suspend its strike when the council is reconstituted on Friday. Reporter for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
Moving on, 18 persons engaged in child trafficking have been convicted by the Attorney General's office since 2015. The number of prosecutions have also increased since government implemented the Child Protection Compact with funding from the U.S. government. A high-level government delegation from the United States and Ghana met to review the compact. Yvonne Atakra Obuebisa is Director of Public Prosecutions at the Attorney General's office.
Can say there are 18 cases that we have attained convictions. There are several others in court in whom we have cases ongoing in Koforidua. There are about 34 or so cases ongoing in Koforidua. There are some ongoing in Accra. There are also several that are awaiting prosecution.
And a deputy director at the Trafficking in Persons Office, Joel Maybury, said even though Ghana's progress towards eliminating human trafficking was commendable, more needs to be done to resource agencies working in the sector.
We are also concerned that there are persistent challenges that continue to impede progress toward achieving the CPC objectives, and let me just cite 3 of those. The lack of adequate shelter facilities and services for child trafficking victims, the insufficient funding and resources needed to conduct investigations and operations to remove child victims from trafficking situations and prosecute perpetrators, and concern that inappropriate interference or influence obstructed some trafficking investigations and prosecutions. During our dialogue today, the government expressed its steadfast resolve to combat human trafficking, and we are pleased to hear that. Ghana was upgraded from Tier 2 watch list to Tier 2 in the State Department's 2018 Trafficking in Persons report, which annually assesses all government's efforts to combat human trafficking.
President Akufo-Addo is warning Africa may fail to attract the needed foreign investment if cases of corruption, bureaucracy and other vices are not immediately addressed. Both the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have predicted that 6 of the fastest growing economies for 2018 will come from Africa, with Ghana also included in the list. But President Akufo-Addo says the prediction may not be realized if challenges on the continent are not fixed. Addressing member states of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in Germany, President Akufo-Addo said Africa has all it takes to prosper and so called for alliances for growth and development.
As a result of industrialization and the structural transformation of African economies, African countries will become more involved in the high end of the international value chain, trading in both final and intermediate manufacturing products. Under these assumptions, by 2030, we could be talking of an African imports market of almost $3 trillion United States dollars. This is a huge market that exporters in OECD countries could compete for, with significant potential employment and income impacts in those countries. So there are tremendous opportunities for shared prosperity for OECD and Africa's countries in Africa's rapid economic growth and transformation. On our own, we in Africa are already beginning to chart a new path. Across the continent, macroeconomic management has improved considerably in recent years, with inflation rates in most countries below 10%, and with the average rate for the region expected to be at or below 10% in the next few years, according to a 2028 International Monetary Fund report. We're striving to enhance rapidly domestic resource mobilization through reforms in public revenue policy and administration, and by strengthening our financial sectors to raise domestic private savings. We are making good progress in strengthening the environment for private business, including tackling corruption and excessive bureaucratic procedures. Sub-Saharan Africa features strongly among the regions with the highest share of reforming economies in the World Bank 2018 Doing Business report. It is no wonder that this year, 6 of the world's fastest growing economies, including Ghana's, will be in Africa, according to the IMF. Despite the positive outlook, the perception still lingers that Africa is a continent marked by wars, famine, macroeconomic mismanagement, corruption, and red tape that stifles businesses. For us, this clearly means we have to do a better job of marketing the prospects of our continent. And equally important, we have to continue with and deepen the reforms that will attract the requisite investment into the continent.
Well, back home, a female blogger who published a false report about Kumawood actor Kwejon Cancer, known to many of us as Lil Wayne, has been granted bail after spending a night in police custody. Ohima Candice Jane, in a story published on ghsplash.com, accused the actor of running over a pedestrian on the Accra-Nsawam Highway on Monday. The actor, however, disputed the report, lodged a complaint subsequently with the Tesano police. Well, Efwa Evans Chinri is following up on all that and brings us the latest.
Popular radio presenter Beku Santana was on full blast on his show on Monday, calling for the arrest of the blogger after the story went viral. Ohima Candice in the report stated that the Kumawood actor was riding in his customized Chevrolet in front of Accra-based radio station Peace FM when the incident happened. She explains how she came by the story, admitting she didn't do the needed checks.
I visited the Peace FM premises on Monday to visit Kwame Akmo, my former teacher. While I wait at the first floor, the wing came and the receptionist was actually asking him to, the receptionist asked Lewin that somebody had lodged a complaint that he has knocked him down. I overheard just this conversation. I don't know what car was it. I don't know what time it was. I don't know where it happened. But since I'm a blogger, I thought maybe I could make something out of it. I wrote an article.
You didn't speak to this person who was lodging the complaint?
Didn't even know. I don't even know who the person was, and I didn't speak to anybody. I don't know whether it was true or not. But the only thing I heard was Lewin explaining that people throw themselves at him because he's a star to extort or they need money from him.
Tesano Divisional Commander Superintendent Odro Amening said investigations are ongoing.
We were here last Monday when we had a call from Peace FM that there's been a lady blogger there who has just filmed Lewin and then put it on the media. We immediately moved in, and then we met the lady, and we met Lewin also. They were discussing. Apparently, she has videoed him and then put it on the media that he has just knocked someone with his car and he has run away without stopping. So that was it. We brought them, and then we took statement from Lewin, and then as a complainant, and then the lady also, we cautioned her. And later she said she was sorry for what she did, and it wasn't intention. Lewin is her fan. And I said, granted, if he's your fan, why then do you want to defame him? You know he's a star. And she said, no, it wasn't her intention. That wasn't the intention, that she wanted to destroy Lewin. She said, okay, then let's go ahead. So the law will take its course. Meanwhile, we granted her bail, and the investigation is still ongoing.
Ohima Kande says she's expected to report to the police again on Friday.
And that's it for the news, but we have more news. So we're looking at the stories as they've been published on the front and back pages of the newspapers. We'll look at myjoyonline.com, but again, we have to tell you the royal visit is on. Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall, they're already on the continent of Africa. They're concluding their visit to the Gambia. They'll come to Accra, Ghana, and then of course subsequently after the visit from Accra, Ghana, or Ghana in general, we should say, they'll go to Nigeria. It's about the Commonwealth with strengthening ties, and we'll have some discussions on it with the British High Commission representatives in Accra. Please, it's going to be a nice conversation. But our conversation today is going to dwell on early child marriages, because Erastus Asari Donko did a story, the second time he's doing that in the recent past, of a man who traded his 15-year-old girl into an early marriage. What would you think about it? We'll also be sending Komla Dom onto the streets of one of the areas in the capital to ask you young people, 15 below and above, what you think about being forced into an early marriage. So please, all those conversations you can also comment about on our Facebook page, Join News on TV. We have a Twitter handle, and you can also give us more comments as you watch us live on YouTube. My Joy Online TV is our channel there. We're taking a break. When we come back, myself, Mama Viosa Boaje, and Joseph Kofi Akablay, we're doing the review of the newspapers. Stay with us.